Hello, future me here. It's about 10, 11 months in the future from when this video was recorded. And I just wanted to say that while the video isn't like over the top descriptive and gory or anything like that, it does have a few more descriptions and situations that happened, so I just wanted to call that out ahead of time in case anybody's sensitive wants to skip past it. This video does kind of go into my return journey home. It wasn't the worst, but there were a few issues that could have been dangerous at the end, could have led to some problems. But overall, through being attentive, aware of what was going on as soon as it became a problem, and then making sure that I was careful and calculated in what I did, I was able to safely navigate those issues and be fine once everything kind of settled down. But for a bit there, it was a little concerning. Yeah, so just wanted to call that out ahead of time to make sure if you want to skip this one, you can go ahead and skip it. Alright, sorry for portrait mode versus landscape, but I'm exhausted. I got home a couple hours ago. Holy shit. I made it. Overall, I was really worried about a lot of bad complications because I haven't been vertical. I really didn't want a lot of swelling. I didn't want the complications from that. But overall, I must say, my seat cushion is clutch. It absorbed all the plane bumps on the taxiway. Turbulence on the flight was totally normal. Honestly, the flight was fantastic. But there was some normal bumps and stuff on the way. Cushion absorbed it all. I could see my swollen belly jiggling more than I could feel it in my privates and on my butt. So fantastic seat cushion. I'll probably at some point put a link to it. Not sponsored, but holy shit, it's amazing. The flight itself was great, but my problem was I woke up early so I could try to get a dilation in before I hop on the plane. I also stayed up late so that I could do a later dilation and give myself some more separation because I knew I'd come home, I'd be exhausted, I'd need to lay on the couch before I do my next dilation. So I was going to set the daytime flight and everything up. The daytime flight was going to be basically like my overnight, so that way I could be up and away from it for like 6-7 hours. Come home, unwind, rest, relax, ice up, then do my dilation without dealing with any extra issues from that. But unfortunately, I woke up at 6 a.m. and I had some bleeding. It wasn't too bad until I actually got up. And when I was sitting on the toilet, I noticed that I also had a little bit of a bowel movement. TMI, I know, but again, this is the experience, and that's the point of this channel. And as you can't push, you're not supposed to push, you can push. I noticed that every time I tried to relax my muscles to try and let it out, A, it wasn't quite ready, and B, the blood got worse. So it didn't quite trigger in my mind yet what was going on, but I knew I had a problem. So I stopped relaxing those muscles, cleaned up, went, laid down, iced up for about 30 minutes, maybe a little more. By this time, it was about 7 o'clock, and I was running very quickly out of time to finish packing, finish dilation, all of that. However, laying on my back, icing, no longer having the stool at the bottom, helped the blood flow stop. So I got up, I went to the restroom, cleaned up again, no major issues. Then I had to start kind of packing because it's too late to dilate. My flight was due to board at 8:30. I wasn't too far from the airport. It's about a 20-minute drive. But with this being morning, we didn't know if there'd be any accidents or issues to deal with on the road, so we wanted to make sure we had time to get there. My plan was to leave at about 7:30. It's now 7 o'clock. So I'm rushing to finish brushing my teeth, getting all my stuff done, trim my face, get all that stuff packed up, put in my bags, get my dilators packed up, everything. I managed to get my backpack done, got all this other stuff done. I wasn't lifting that much, but I was moving and I was getting stressed, and all that happened, and I could feel the blood starting to flow again. Now it's 7:30. My bags have been handed off to my support person who's packed them in her car. She's ready to go. So I get back on the toilet, see if I can relax to let the stool move its way out. It's not quite there yet. still bleeding fairly decently. So we get some gauze pads and just double them up, stick them on the edge, double the pads strategically, pull those up, head to the airport. Thankfully, the pants I was wearing were these they're not quite windbreaker pants, but they also aren't quite scrubs. There's something kind of in the middle. They have 2 zipper pockets on the front side. They're not very big, but they can hold a cell phone. And then there's a small one on my thigh. They're all kind of forward facing on the front of the pants. They were easy to get into. They were comfortable. They could cover my legs. And when I got home to Texas, where it's really hot, they wouldn't bake me. So I figured they'd be good pants. Get on the cushion, get in the car. I can feel some blood coming out. Not great. Cushion's good, thankfully. Absorbing some bumps as we rush to get down the road, get to the highway. We make it to the airport at about 8, just after 8. Took us literally about 15-20 minutes to get there. One minor slowdown, and otherwise it was good. So that was fantastic. Say goodbye to the support person, kind of hurried and rushed. Hobble inside. I'm right at the American area where we planned. And there's a lady there's like, can I help you? Because I have a mask on, but it's obvious I'm huffing and puffing and I'm straining a little bit. And then I've got this kind of like wild-eyed look, and you can see my hair. I don't have the clips in it because they're metal. I didn't want to go through TSA with metal in my hair. So it's kind of like, and I said, I need to drop my bag off for check-in, and there's supposed to be a wheelchair waiting for me for gate assistance. She's like, go into the priority line, and they'll help you. Which was nice. I got to get in the priority line, and I'm standing there like, this is not good. Finally, they call me around. I didn't have to wait more than 10-15 seconds. I hand them my bag. I say there's supposed to be gate assistance. She's like, yep, no problem. Verifies my information and sends me over to the side to wait for a moment, and they'll bring a wheelchair over. Well, I head that direction, and the lady that had originally helped me was like, we've already got a wheelchair here. So I just sat down, and they took me straight to security. I felt a little bad. The line at security was honestly really, really, really good. It was very short line. Sorry, I'm holding my head up a little bit. The line was very short. There was maybe 8 people in the line, so I didn't feel too bad skipping ahead a little bit, and I didn't block too many of them, but it was still kind of like, I'm sorry. Just personal stuff. But we get there. I'd already told the the wheelchair guy I've got a laptop and a tablet in my portable console. I just called it a tablet so I didn't confuse anybody. So we pull those out, cell phones, put those in the thing, put the backpack in the thing, goes through, and they just wheeled me through security. But then, unfortunately, I had to get the full fondle pat down. Lady was nice, handled it professionally. My hands and shoes had to get the bomb detecting stuff done. All in, I would say I was there maybe 10 minutes. Not too bad. I did stand up to help pack my backpack again, just to make sure I got it in right, because it was stuffed. And then get back in the chair and head off to the gate. Now, the problem at the moment was that I've got my backpack. It's probably about 20 pounds. I'm only supposed to lift 10, but it's got handles so that if I stand and just use my arms, I'm not straining my abdominal muscles that much, and I'm not straining my perineum that much. So it works as long as I'm very careful. But it was sitting in my lap on top of my knees, and my feet are on the little footrest. The cushion is under me, and I've got the backrest, and I'm using my feet to push myself into the backrest so I can take some of the pressure off of my perineum. Most of that is just because I did not have time to wiggle around and get the cushion in just the right position and all of that. So my legs are getting really tired. But we get it through all that. We head to the airplane, and they had finished the initial pre-board. They'd finished first class, and they had just finished doing families. The last few people were checking in with families and special assistant stuff. So I got to go up, handed them my boarding pass, and wheeled right on. I waited maybe a minute at the gate before going in, just because somebody was in front of me and they were trying to fix the seat assignment. wheeled me all the way down, got into the plane. First class was it. The rest of the plane was empty, so I could hobble down to my seat using the chairs as helping support. And I was able to spend a good amount of time getting my cushion situated, getting my backpack situated out of the way, and just kind of maneuvering myself into position while boarding started. And then nobody sat next to me for a long time. The seats did fill up, which was fine. But I had like 10 minutes to get myself comfortable. And I'm glad I paid for business class. I used to be about 6'1". I'm about 5'11" now. And it's not bad, but that extra legroom allowed me to put the cushion on the very edge of the seat so that I could lean back a little bit. And then I took the little hoodie I was wearing, rolled it up in a ball, and stuffed it behind my lumbar to give my back a bit of support. It was actually pretty comfortable for the 3 hours, and then the last 15, 20 minutes, I was starting to feel a little bit of soreness in my lower back. My left knee was kind of pushing against the metal armrest frame of the seat in front of me, so I wasn't jabbing it into his back, but that just gave my leg a little bit of extra support to push back if I needed to. And my other leg and both my feet were under my backpack and kind of pushing on that. So I got comfortable. I sat there for the whole flight. Not the end of the world. I didn't feel any more blood. I didn't feel any different pain. I just felt standard uncomfortable. I didn't really have any hunger. I didn't have any thirst. I was really trying to avoid any airline toilet needs. If I had to, I had to, but I wasn't feeling any urges. I wasn't feeling any needs, so I did not partake, which is probably for the best, because had I gotten up, I might have ran into larger problems. Anyway, in my pants, I was using the left pocket for my passport and my personal phone, my right pocket for my work phone, and the thigh one I had a spare pad and a gauze strip in there just in case. So I was ready to go. I had enough on me to take care of basic stuff. Didn't feel the need, didn't bother. Now, the flight finishes. We had normal turbulence, no big deal. The cushion just absorbed it fine. Landing, I did lift a little bit, but even then the cushion still absorbed it. I was good. I had everything in just the right spot. It was perfect. But as we were finishing the taxi and coming up on the gate, we had to wait for them to move a ground support vehicle. And I'd already put my phones in my pocket to get ready to leave. And so I'm like, okay, great. I'm going to be a little late. I pull my phone out, and half my phone is covered in blood. Oh boy. And that's this phone. So like this, there we go. If this is the screen where my fingers are, basically say my entire thumb down here on the bottom was all blood. Now, it's not like it was just pure red with paint. It was like I could see there was blood there, and I'm like, oh, beep. So it's now on my hands. I had a couple paper towels and stuff that I'd carried in my backpack. I grabbed one to wipe it off and kind of clean my phone a little bit. And then because these pants, they're elastic waistbands, they have tie strings, but I've tied them off so that they just are loose. You don't have to worry about it. They stay in place. They elastic to my waist, but they're not tight to hurt the laparoscopic incisions or anything like that. They're super comfortable. But I lifted it up and I looked down, and it was just like, oh my God, I am in trouble. So I put the pants back down, quickly got, my row was now emptying. So I got my passport and my work phone out of my other pocket, which were also bloody. And I stuffed those in my backpack, just cleaned them up real quick, stuffed them in my backpack, zipped that pocket on my phone. I just was like, okay, crap. And the reason I was having problems is that I had bled through. Obviously, my phones were wet. But again, my phones are on top. They're not on the side. They're not on the bottom. They're on top. And so when I looked, my underwear was completely soaked through except my hips. There was maybe a 3-inch side by my hips that wasn't covered in blood yet. And on the front, it wasn't just blood, red, and these were white with gray striped period panties, menstruation underwear. Again, extra protection. I was trying to be careful. But they had soaked through all the way up to the top brim, and it was wet and glistening, meaning that there was pooled blood there. It wasn't just that they were wet. There was a pool of blood on top of it, and that's why I kind of went, oh my God. Which means as soon as I stand up, it's all going to shoot down my legs and everywhere. So I was like, okay. I got the flight attendant's attention, said, I just had surgery, and I tore a stitch or something. I didn't want to say I just had SRS. And I'm bleeding a bit. Do you have any paper towels? And he brought me a big wad of paper towels and a plastic trash bag. And I was like, thank you so much. And he asked a couple personal questions like, do you have a doctor's release to travel? I didn't have a doctor's release form to travel, but my doctor had said, you can go home now. They knew I was leaving, and it was fine. They had no problems with it. And I had all my surgical paperwork on me in my backpack, so it's like, okay, no big deal. And I had their phone number. I could have called them and all that. But he's like, I don't need to see it. I just want to make sure you're cleared to travel. I'm like, it's not on you. I just need to get off this plane. And then I said, I should have a wheelchair out there. Can you let them know I need to go to the restroom? He's like, yeah. Are you wanting to go in the airline restroom? No, I want to go to the airport restroom because yours is not a good toilet. So I was looking at what I could do with the paper towels. And I said, okay, I'm just going to have to go for it. I need to get to the restroom. So I took the paper towels and I just stuffed my thighs between the underwear and all that, around the waist, around the front. And that way they would soak up the blood that dripped out. I made a reasonable walk to the end of the plane. I took the plastic bag they gave me. I was going to sit on it, but when I looked at my cushion, there really wasn't any blood on it because my pants are semi-hydrophobic, so the blood wasn't super affixing to it. It was just kind of forming a film that made it slip a little bit, which, good pants. So I wasn't too worried about that. So I sat on the cushion on the wheelchair. They took me in. They wheeled me up to the ladies' room. I'm like, do you have a private one? Because I need water. And so they took me over to a private stall, a private restroom. And I got in there and I got on the toilet and I was still bleeding. There was some clotty flesh discharges, normal stuff. I wasn't too worried about that. It was the fact that I'm still bleeding that had me worried. I'm like, I'm going to have to leave in an ambulance, all this stuff. And then I remembered, well, when I laid down and iced, I was okay. So I need to get home. But I need to clean up because my legs are bloody. It hadn't dripped down past my upper thighs, so I was still okay. But I had to take my pants off. The underwear was trash. That stuff weighed about 4 pounds of just weight. Not really 4 pounds. It was maybe a pound and a half, but it was ridiculously heavy for a pair of underwear. It felt more like a really, really full diaper. And that was a bit like, oh my God. So I put that in the plastic bag. I took 2 more pads, and again, I brought spare period panties with me. I lined one horizontally, right where I'd be sitting on the pressure point, so that as it drained down, it would wick off to the sides. And then on top of that, I lined the normal pad. And again, most of the stuff towards the back, since it's all going to drip down. Cleaned the toilet. I had to clean all this stuff. I got extra paper towels to stuff in my pants. I was like, okay, let's go. I get out of the bathroom after about 20 minutes of cleaning up, taking care of myself, and we roll to baggage claim. Baggage claim was done. My bag was sitting off to the side in unclaimed luggage. I said, that one's mine. We rolled out. As soon as we grabbed my bag, I hit go on Uber, and the guy was like 4 minutes away. So we rolled out, and he just left me sitting right where the Uber pickups are because he saw me doing the Uber, so he took me straight to where I needed to go, which was literally right outside of the baggage claim door that I had come to, so I didn't have to go anywhere. It was perfect. And once we got there, I turned my luggage around, and in the outer pocket, it's just a carry-on bag. I opened it up, and I had some of the Chucks pads that I had been sitting on and dilating on to catch any leakage or discharge, just to make sure I kept everything clean. So I took 2 of those out, zipped my bag up. Driver literally rolls up 40 seconds later. He gets out, takes both my bags, puts them in. I take my cushion, set it on the seat. Cushion was clean. And I lay a Chuck's pad over it, and I kind of build a little bowl under where I'm going to sit so everything will drip down there and catch. And I take the second one and I make a makeshift diaper. Embarrassing, but needs must. So I stuffed it down and up, and it's long enough to go waist to waist, front to back. And then I pulled it a little bit down the legs, cinched it up, and climbed in and sat down. And his seat thankfully reclined, so I was able to lean back. Super, super awesome driver. I got so lucky with this driver because I'm like, oh, I just had surgery. Didn't tell him what for. Had a stitch pop, and which is kind of true. And I was bleeding a little bit, so he's like, here in Dallas, we have a couple of roads. The main one from the airport would be 635, but it's just a regular highway, and it's often very trafficy. I landed and was there at about 3 o'clock, so rush hour was beginning. And he said, okay, well, in the interest of getting you home, is it okay if I take the George Bush Turnpike? It's a toll road, but it takes me literally right next to my house, and it's not usually trafficy until about 4. So I was like, 2 thumbs up, extra tip for you, let's go. Boom, off we go, and I can feel the blood coming out of me. I'd used 2 more gauze pads to kind of stick it up there, but they were already soaked through, and I could feel it bleeding. So I'm like, okay, great. So we go, we get to my house, we get the bags out, I roll in, I start to unpack, clean up, and I sat down on the toilet, and immediately I felt the stool pushing, and that's when it hit me in the head. I'd had 2 very difficult dilation sessions the night before. I felt like something was blocking me. And as soon as I leaned back on the toilet here, which is a little lower so your legs come up, which is a better position to help you pass stool, the toilet in San Francisco where I was staying was higher, so my legs weren't in quite the right position. The pressure point was wrong, so it was harder for me to go. And everything just came right out super smoothly. And it was a lot more than I would have anticipated. I know that's TMI, but it really points to the importance. And I was taking Miralax and things to kind of help it flow through, not a full laxative, you don't want the cramps, but it was moving through. And this was the perfect consistency, but I had blocked it a little bit in dilation, and I'd backed up a little bit because the toilet didn't allow my legs to get in the right position to help it move out with the bloating and the swelling, and all of that just kind of worked together against me. As soon as all of that came out, I went from feeling like I'm about to pass out to feeling like I was starting to feel normal again. It was so good. And within 30 seconds of that finishing, the blood stopped. So all of that was causing a conflict somewhere up in the peritoneal flap that created the vaginal canal, and that was causing my bleeding. Once I passed it, blood stopped. Everything was perfect. Now, I'd lost a lot of blood. I soaked through probably 5 to 6 pads worth, and they say if you soak through 2 pads in an hour, you need to get help. But I was on a plane, so I definitely hit that limit. And as soon as I got up off the toilet, I started seeing stars. I was lightheaded. I was ready to pass out, but I managed to clean myself up a little bit. I had some hospital like bath wipes that they give you. I'd taken some home. So I used that to clean up some of the blood, cleaned everything up as good as I could. I didn't do the hydrogen peroxide mix because I didn't want to go find where it was in my house when I got home. And I just used water, sprayed everything down as best as possible, got some ice that was ready, came over to the couch, laid down, and just like, oh my gosh, I took a huge drink of water. So much about my body changed as soon as I passed that blockage. I got thirsty. I had not wanted to drink anything all day. As soon as I passed, I'm like, I'm freaking parched. Took a huge drink of water and felt so good. And I'd planned to order a big fancy dinner because, hey, I'm home, I'm alive. Let's celebrate. And I ordered the big dinner and I ate. My appetite was so much larger than it had been in a long time. It's not to say I didn't eat, but I wanted the food. Whereas before it was like, I'm eating 2 pieces of pizza. This was different. I ate a large amount of food, and I took a ton of Miralax to try and help whatever's going down. move out. And I'll taper it back off. I know the dosage I used to, prior to surgery, take Miralax every day, just a little bit, just a bit of assistance, help things move through. That way, if I eat something that's kind of like a pizza slice, which tends to bung you up a little bit, then I don't have to worry about the same problem. But now it's super critical. So once that passed, it was good. I texted my doctors, gave them the FYI, let them know I'd lost a crap ton of blood. And they were like, okay, keep your eye on it. So I ate, I rested, I relaxed. 8:30 at night, I go up to dilate. I was nervous, but the inside was coated with a lot of blood that made most of dilation pretty easy. I got to maximum depth in about 10-15 minutes and then started my 30-minute timer, and it was fine. This morning, it took me about 20 minutes to get to maximum depth, but I got there. I went very slow. It was very sore, honestly. Everything in there felt really sore and like very cramped. Partly due to my stress and all that, but I managed it pretty well and I got through it. Today, I stayed down here on the couch. I'm in the downstairs. I slept on this super awesome couch that we've had for, I don't know, 12 years or more. 14 years. It's super wide. It's a really good couch. And I slept so good. I went to bed at like 11:45. I slept solid until just about 6 when I woke up to go to the restroom, needed to get some ice. Then my daughter came down and I hung out with her for a little while. And then I dozed off a couple of times, but it was so good. I slept well. The food made me feel like I've got energy. My thighs feel like I ran a flippin' marathon, so it's really hard to walk and move right now. My abs are a bit sore. I overdid it. But oh my gosh, I feel like a human again. There's so many positive things about just being home. Like, I walked in and as soon as I saw my daughter, even though I felt like crap, I'm bleeding, I've lost all this blood, I feel horrible. Oh my God, seeing my daughter, I start crying. I'm tearing up now. It was such an emotionally wonderful feeling to be like, I'm home and I can see my daughter and I can give you a hug. And it just meant so much to be back in my space where I'm comfortable. And then watching TV with my shows and things again. And I can do it on YouTube and all that, but it's like, I'm really good at compartmentalizing things to help me get through it, and just like a wash of emotion for the last 30 days hit me, and it was kind of like, I'm home. And just, it's doing it again now till I can stick it away. But being home raised my spirits so much because I really didn't have anybody with me. My support person was amazing. She was fantastic, and I wouldn't be here without her help. I cannot say that enough. But it's still somebody that I hired. I did know her. We are friends now. I don't have a problem with that. But it's just like if you have your mom or somebody who, it's a different level of emotional support. And I'm able to take care of things on my own, and I did a lot of things for myself, which again helped me feel normal. I don't like being babied or things like that, but it was just like, oh my gosh, I made it. I'm home. And then dinner, and it was just amazing. And I slept well on the couch. I'm going to sleep down here for another night or two to complete kind of the weekend's rest cycle, and then I'll go sleep in my bed and kind of move things up there. But I wanted to be close here because if I can work my finger, fridge, open door here is restroom. Very close. Otherwise, massive flight of stairs to get upstairs, and I do not want to hike up and down the stairs. Part of my discharge was I can go without 24/7 icing, so if I go to bed with an ice pack, I don't have to wake up and refill it. And after I kind of recuperate from the flight and all the blood loss and stuff, I'm going to start that regimen. They also told me I need to start upping the dilator size. I'm going to wait probably till Sunday or Monday, just because everything is so sore down there that I don't want to introduce more soreness until I've at least recuperated from my flight. But that was quite an adventure. And it's good that I'm level-headed because I didn't freak out. I didn't panic. I was stressed. I had anxiety and I was worried. But it didn't drive me to freak out. It drove me to solution, and I'd packed well and I'd planned well so that I had what I needed with me. And it was just a simple of, let's do this. Let's get it done. Let's work with it. And I managed to get home. I took care of everything, and it was really well. And the other thing I want to say, while she looked really rough down there when I dilated this morning, it's probably the best she has ever looked. And that is really a positive thing because I'm so happy. Like I was trying really not to focus on it in San Francisco, but there were a few times I did, and I stopped myself quickly because it's like, nope, don't focus on it. But it's still a surgical site. I know it is. I have dissonance and some issues like that. There will be granulation. There will be other problems. I know it's coming. I know there's a lot of mental issues that are going to come as well, especially as I continue to heal and the scar tissue tightens up. So I need to do my part to keep myself functional, but it was really nice to be like, I don't miss it. I'm glad it's gone. I feel so much better and I feel happy without it. So I just wanted to give kind of that conclusion to my 30-day travel and ordeal and all that stuff for this series of vlogs. I will continue to do some updates and post things, but it's not going to be quite as regular now that I'm back home and the bulk of it's over. But I will give updates and kind of share things as it progresses. So just wanted to say that. I know it was a long one. Thank you for sticking with it. And I really hope this helps. I do not mean for these videos to scare anybody off, but I feel that understanding exactly how difficult this is will both help people who don't understand why we would want to do this. It's because it's medically necessary, and it is serious that we do these things in order to function and feel like we have a way forward in our lives. And for those who might be questioning if they want to do it, this might be a big thing that you're like, I can't deal with that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go through that. And that's perfectly fine. Everybody's transition is unique to them. You do what you need to do to function and survive. And if this video helps people like, yeah, you know what, I think I can get through that. Or, yeah, this needs a bit more consideration. Great. Because you have to be 110% positive that you're going to put yourself through this basic hell. Because so far it's been pain, which I've managed okay. I didn't take any of my opioids. I've just taken Tylenol and Advil. Again, higher pain tolerance so far. And I did it mostly by myself mentally. I'm my support person. Again, massive help. But you've got to be ready for this stuff. And there's no way to be ready. No matter how much you watch the videos, no matter how much you hear how rough and tough it can be, until you go through it, you don't understand. And your desire for the positive outcome is what carries you through it. And if you don't have that desire, then you will regret it. You will hate it and you'll have problems. That doesn't mean you're going to have bad days and you're not going to be like, oh God, why did I do this? That's normal. That's called mental health. But you really need to be sure of what you're doing before you do it. And so far, I'm perfectly happy with it. It's hard as hell. It's difficult. But the worst part of it, according to my doctor, is behind me. So the rest is just slowly building myself up over the next 2 months. After the 3-month period, I should be much more functional. I still have to take it easy. And then by the 6-month period, I should be mostly normal. Hopefully the granulation or anything will have shown up by then and we can plan treatment for it, or I've already taken care of it. And hopefully by then I've sized up good on the dilators and we're progressing well towards normal life. But thank you. We'll talk to you later. Bye.